wake your ass up
or take a damn nap.
And we're the three best friends that anybody could have.
It's time.
Sean, you were twerking. That's going to happen.
Murph, don't be a dick all your life.
It's one of the more fun podcasts I've ever done.
Hey, I tell you what, if you're not talking about sports in the man cave, I bet not say you not a man.
That's it.
Well, there we have it. This is obviously an Omaha-themed edition of Stories Inside the Man Cave. And before we introduce a special guest that really I call the authority of college baseball, we got to give a lot of love to our sponsors. Of course, Jim Saxton, State Farm Insurance Agency. He has been insuring Austin for over 3 decades. And a UT legacy, former UT football player. Log on to saxtoninsurance.com for all of your insurance needs, and our latest sponsor, Cosmic Coffee and the Beer Garden on the south side of Austin. He is also, Cosmic Coffee is also the sponsor of our Tell Me Something Good segment in segment 2. And again, they're located right off of South Congress. Now, this guy, we kind of have dating back history to Lufkin, Texas.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Kendall Rogers.
Right here, dude. Let's
there
go.
It is. LP.
Actually, it's funny. John Cobb, the head baseball coach there, DM me on Twitter like a month ago and was like, basically like, hey, I didn't realize you were from Lufkin. Hey, I'm going to send you a bunch of gear. So the other day I get like this huge box. I mean, it's like 5 Lufkin shirts, a bunch of hats. So shout out to him, man. I've got Lufkin gear all over the place these days.
I love it, that blue and gold in that beautiful new facility. Now, the guy that and he has been really outfitted a lot of college baseball fans here recently during the regional and super regional run. Mike Murphy, Last Stand Hats, he's joining us, and somehow he carves out time while servicing everyone's Last Stand Hats orders. This is our brother, Mike Murphy, Kendall Rogers.
Nice to meet you. Hey, we need some D1 baseball hats. Let's go.
I think we got a frozen segment here before the sign, but
he's so starstruck he's frozen.
That's exactly what it is.
I don't know this new system. Kendall Rogers is here. Just wait till we talk about Texas baseball and why you hate us. Just kidding. Can you hear me?
We'll get there, don't worry.
Yeah, I'm sure. Mike Murphy, Last Stand House. Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, you as well.
Well, and that is from Lufkin, Texas to Texas A&M, and now I began personally following Kendall business-wise, I believe, in the early 2000s. And that business following college baseball quickly evolved into what you have really created, D1Baseball.com. Is it safe to call you the authority of college baseball?
Well, I mean, if you want to call me that. Hey, I will tell you guys, though, to give you an idea how big of a deal that Sean used to be, I remember – when I was like a teenager living in Lufkin, Texas, like, dude, it was a big deal to like watch the Friday night, like after all the games were over, show where Sean went through all the highlights. Like, he was what everybody looked forward to on a Friday night in East Texas. Imagine that beautiful mug right there. We all wanted to see that.
That mug had plenty of hair follicles for about 4 years, and then all of a sudden,
I'm on the same path, brother.
Hey, I'm trying to look as good as you without any hair. That's my motivation right there. Now,
Harge has it too.
Hey, Harge too. And Murphy, man, he's had some, it's bald by choice. It's whatever he decides to do, whatever he feels like.
Got a little bit. I used to date a girl out in Sulphur Springs. So I know exactly where Lufkin's at. Craziest girl I ever
like
dated in my life. Yeah, stay away from East Texas. God almighty.
Hey, Kendall, beginning the round table. This is the 37th trip to the College World Series for the Longhorns. How many College World Series, including the one you're about to travel to, have you covered?
This is my 16th straight College World Series.
Wow.
To cover. Crazy. So, yeah, I've seen a lot of them. My first one that actually covered the whole thing was the year after Rice won it.
Right.
So the year that Fullerton beat Texas was the first year that I actually went to the entire College World Series. So yeah, it's been 16 straight years, and I tell you what, it was really weird last year during this time, like sitting around my pool. I mean, let's be honest with we can be honest on here.
Whoa.
Sitting by my pool, drinking beer every single day during last year's College World Series. So it's a little different. I'm going to go to Omaha. I'm going to actually work a little bit. So.
What's your thought on Arkansas getting bumped out in the Super Regionals? Was that a shock to you, or could you see that coming by Mississippi State?
I mean, I thought it was going to be a good series. I mean, I think when you look at NC State overall, this is a team that we had them preseason top 14. They did not play like it for much of the season, to be honest. And I mean, I want to say they were 2-9 in the ACC at one point. I mean, either way, it wasn't good. They're like Virginia; they were in like a bad place. And from about the midseason point on, they just kind of flipped the switch. And so I knew, and if anybody saw our previews last week, like I talked about, like NC State's scary. Like they're really good 1-9. They've got some big arms. You look at the Evan Justice, who pitched at the very end of the game against Arkansas. I mean, he was like 97 from the left side. So they've got some nice arms. But I mean, at the end of the day, if a team has not lost a weekend the whole season, you expect them to be in the College World Series. So there's a part of me that's like,
right,
hey, NC State's an awesome story, and like they have a chance to win this bracket, and this is cool and all. But there's another part of me that's like, the team that did not lose a weekend the whole year, like I kind of would like to see that kind of team in Omaha, especially Kevin Kopps. Like I just felt like they deserve to be in Omaha, but give NC State a lot of credit.
Now, I don't know if Harge can hear us. He disconnected briefly. He's obviously on the road.
He gone.
But we are grateful to have Murph in here as he's strictly you are a busy man. And Harge is back in the mix today.
He's back, man. He must be.
Harge, you're up to the plate, brother.
Well, I wanted to ask Kendall this. I mean, I've been all over the place, man. I got a lot of stuff going on, just like Kendall. But as you look through the season, Kendall, and you start ranking all these teams, and you talked a little bit about the rankings earlier, you and I got a chance to talk last year at the Round Rock Classic, and we got a chance to watch Tennessee play, and they ran through the Round Rock Classic. And then you continue to look at these teams and the evolution of each team. Were you expecting some of the things you saw, like Notre Dame? Notre Dame shocked the crap out of me this year, especially with all their power numbers. I know the way that they play is kind of in a bandbox, but they can stroke the baseball. What were your thoughts on Notre Dame coming into the season and how they pushed everybody to the limit?
Yeah, there's kind of a common thread, and that's, Tennessee started off really hot last year. We probably should, we had them preseason ranked, but we probably should have expected them to be even better than that, considering the start they got off to last year. Notre Dame is one of those teams too. I mean, hindsight's 2020, but we should have expected a little bit more out of them because people forget. I mean, this is a team that was red hot in the last season. I mean, they swept North Carolina to start ACC play. A week later, the season was canceled. So their first impression was sweeping North Carolina, and I want to say they beat them pretty good on the road. And so we probably should have expected this a little bit more than we did. But tell you what, Lee Jarrett's done a tremendous job. You look at their offense with Nico Cavadas, who his home run in Starkville the other night is still going. I mean, that was
that thing flew out of the
home run. I think it just passed me on the road. I think it just passed me.
I mean, that was insane, and it's not like he is going against scrubs. I mean, he was going against a guy who struck out like 900 Texas hitters opening weekend. So,
whoa,
yeah, I mean, they're just really, really offensive.
Hey. Someone disconnect this guy off our podcast. What the
Hey, Kendall, speaking of Texas.
But the truth of the matter is he's not lying.
No, he's not.
So two things. I'm not lying. Well, I might have exaggerated the numbers slightly. It wasn't 900. But two things are true. I'm not lying about him shoving it against them. The other thing would be is Texas is a 100% different team they were opening weekend.
Yes. Talk about that evolution. If you look at the best pitching staffs in this 18 College World Series fields, you got to look at the entire 3-man rotation of Texas. But in comparison to Vanderbilt, I know it's not fair with Rocker and Leiter, but are they comparable strength-wise?
Absolutely, and here's why. I mean, if you need two guys to win a national championship, obviously you're going to pick Kamar Rocker and Jack Leiter. But if you are playing a series, which if you win your bracket, you're playing a 3-game series, all of a sudden I'm looking at Texas as my team because when you look at Ty Madden, Tristan Stevens, and Tristan, I thought battled over the weekend. I didn't think he had his best stuff. He's typically a guy.
He really didn't. He did battle. You're right.
Yeah. He's typically a guy that'll pound the zone. He'll get us out of the ballpark in 2.5 hours, and he wasn't that guy. And then Pete Hansen, for me, has been their best arm in the last month of the season. I mean, I thought his breaking ball in the regional 2 weekends ago was phenomenal. His fastball velo is still not quite where it was last year, but when you can command your breaking ball arm side the way he did in that regional, that's really special. So, I mean, I would argue right now that Ty Madden, for me, is probably their third most reliable starting pitcher. When that's your third most reliable starting pitcher, you're pretty damn good.
And I couldn't agree with you more, Kendall, on every aspect of what you just said. I thought Pete Hansen is probably one of the best pitchers that we expected him to be, but I thought his injury and his COVID situation put him in a position to learn how to pitch again. And I think he executed that, and he continues to improve. The only bad thing about it is he didn't get any work over the weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to me to see how David Pierce organizes things on the mound because, if you think about it, he didn't pitch last weekend. He pitched, obviously pitched in the regional. But, if he doesn't pitch till the third game in Omaha, you're what, 1, 2, that's 5 days into the College World Series. So, he's basically off for 2.5 weeks. And if I'm David Pierce, I'm not so sure I want that. So, almost kind of wonder if he looks at the matchup in game 2, no matter who it is, and starts Pete Hansen just to get him on the mound without sitting around for 2.5 weeks. Right.
Let's see here.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah. So when you look at the entire field, and there's 2 representatives from the Pac-12. There's 2 representatives from ACC. Of course, SEC had 3, and then there's 1 from Texas being, Big 12 being Texas. Do you think as college baseball enthusiasts, we kind of slept on the Pac-12 this year?
No, I really like the Pac-12 this year. We had, we had Stanford, Arizona, and Oregon all highly ranked throughout most of the year. We had Arizona. I want to say we had Arizona. We certainly didn't have Oregon ranked preseason. We had Arizona ranked in the top 20 preseason. Oregon was one of those teams that I felt like had a lot to prove, which they did. Mark Wazakowski, their head coach, would tell you they had a lot to prove. Then Stanford, Harge, we go back to Round Rock last year. Dave Esker in that tournament last year was laughing at how terrible they were. He wasn't like,
you're right.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to be mean, but he was laughing at holy crap, we're really bad. And so I don't think anybody expected.
I don't think they won a game.
No, not only they win a game, I think they got blown out in every single game. But
absolutely,
the jump that they took, I think, surprised me. I think when you look at Stanford, they're dangerous. You look at Drew Bowser. He looks like Tarzan, hits the ball a little bit like him too. He can hit the long ball. Brock Jones, the 2 sports star for them. You may not find a quicker bat on an inside fastball than Brock Jones this entire field. That's how good he is. And then you look at them on the mound. The thing I like about this team is they kind of set the tone in the first game in Lubbock. And, we spent all week talking about, it's going to be really hot in Lubbock and all this kind of stuff. Well, what did they do? They said, you know what? Hey, y'all think it's going to be so hot and that's going to affect us. So, not only we're going to go in there and beat them, we're going to be animals and wear black jerseys in Lubbock in the middle of the day. And I thought, from that point on, I thought Stanford and Brendan Beck meant business. This is a team that means business.
Yeah, man, he literally said it was Texas Tech's funeral, so I wanted to wear black. Didn't matter how hot it was. I was like, that's actually pretty ballsy. I appreciate the fact you came out and said that. That's pretty cool.
I would never wear black in Lubbock in the middle of the day.
That is
ballsy. I wouldn't wear black in Austin in the middle of the day. It is so dang hot. So I got to ask, man, so you started, D1, you've been with it, had it for a while. Talk about the progression and how you kind of built it up to what it is now. you're looked at and too as the rankings, right? It's D1. Like, how did you get to where you're at?
So to keep the story somewhat short, it's kind of interesting. When I was this all kind of started back when I was actually in high school. When I was 16, my parents, we moved from Lufkin to College Station. And at that point, I loved Big 12 baseball. Like, I'd grown up going to games at UT, going to games at A&M, obviously at Olsen Field. And, I just fell in love with college baseball. And from that point on, I did a Big 12 blog for like 3 or 4 years. And then, Bobby Burton at Rivals at the time was like, hey, like, why don't you come do the Big 12 thing on Rivals? And so I started there. We kind of created a pretty large community. And then, that gravitated to, hey, why don't we do a national site? And we started that there. And I was at Rivals and Yahoo for like 7 years, and I was at Perfect Game for a year and a half. And then it's kind of funny, the summer before I went to D1 baseball, Kyle Peterson, obviously kind of I would say the number one voice in college baseball. He, we were sitting at the bar at the Hilton in Omaha, right across from the ballpark, and he looked over and said, hey, man, what would you say if we bought D1 baseball and just brought you in, brought Aaron Fitt in, and just turned this into hey, if you want scores, you want any analysis you'd ever want, one place for everything. And I said, that sounds like a great idea, but I'll be honest with you, I walked away from that meeting going, this guy's crazier than hell. There's no way he's spending that kind of money on college baseball. And a year later, he calls me and says, hey, dude, you remember what we were talking about? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, you ready to roll? And I said, sure. So, it's honestly been an awesome relationship with those guys. I consider Kyle and Aaron two of my best friends in the world. And, it's crazy. I went into this thing going, you know what? If we can just break even, I'm happy. Now it's our growth year over year is insane. I want to say we had 600,000 page views and 400,000 unique visitors on regional weekend.
That's crazy.
That's insane. That's triple what it usually is. And so, college baseball is riding a high right now. And I think, this sounds really weird, and I don't want it to come off the wrong way. In a way, COVID kind of helped college baseball because I think a lot of college fans kind of recalibrated what they put their attention to. And I think a lot of people during the shutdown, they were really desperate to read positive stuff. And where did they go? They went to places like ours, and it's only progressed from there.
Yeah, and the fact that this is like COVID exactly, but this is the best college baseball you've probably seen in 15, 20 years, because all those guys that would have gone pro because the draft was short all came back. So you're just looking at star-studded team after star-studded team,
No doubt.
I agree.
No question.
Hey, Kendall, before we get to your man cave story, the obvious question, it all begins Saturday with one bracket, Stanford, NC State, Vanderbilt, Arizona. And then there's the other side of the bracket, Tennessee, Virginia, Texas, Mississippi State. The surface level question I have, who do you see without picking a national champion coming out of both brackets?
Yeah, for me, on one side, I'm really torn on Texas and Mississippi State. I might lean Texas by a hair. It's really close. I just think when you look at Mississippi State, the fact that they've gotten, Tanner Allen, Logan Tanner, Rowdy Jordan, those three guys have gotten big hit after big hit for those guys. I love the fact they can bring Landon Sims out of the bullpen, and more often than not, it's night when he comes in the game. With that said, I think you look at Texas, and the thing about this team for me is the professional approach they have. There's so many teams, and Harge is a former player, so he knows what this is like. But I think when you look at a team like Texas, I look back at the Fairfield game last weekend. They get up big early. And in that situation, as a baseball player, it would be so easy to go, you know what? There's not a chance in hell these guys are coming back. And we're going to start getting sloppy. We're going to start we're going to stop, commanding the zone on the mound. And what did they do? They were dialed in. They continued the exact same level of play that they had the first 2 innings. So I actually thought that game, for me, I kind of circled that one. If they end up going all the way, that's the game I kind of circled that I'm like, that right there is what tells me this is a championship-minded team, is that approach and that kind of game. So I just think they're playing at such a high level. Offensively, I think Troy Tulowitzki's done an incredible job. I'll be real honest with you guys. Anytime these pro former big league guys get into college baseball, especially former big league players, I'm always sitting there going, okay, like I'm very skeptical because there's been so many guys that have failed at it. But whenever he went there after the first few months, I was talking to David Pierce. He's like, I'm telling you, like, this guy's legit. Like, he has a plan. He has a vision. He knows what he wants to do. And even then, I'm kind of like, okay, I'm still a little skeptical. But tell you what, I don't know if you'll ever talk to him, but like one conversation with Troy Tulowitzki, and like, that he damn well means business. Like, he's not there to just play around in the batting cage. Like, he's there to turn that team into a well-oiled machine. And I feel like offensively, like, they're not gonna you're not gonna see Spencer Torkelson try on that field for Texas. But Mikey Antico has been really good at the top of the lineup. Cam Williams for me might be the most improved player they have. I mean, he does not swing at bad pitches anymore. And so the biggest key for me is, can Ivan Melendez have a big Omaha? If he can, this team can really go the distance.
That's the problem, getting some of that middle order that I've noticed, even through the postseason success, that's kind of been discouraging for Texas, is that middle order slumping that is taking place.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think teams have figured out that Ivan really struggles with the breaking ball, and so he's going to have to be ready for that in Omaha. With that said, the thing that's encouraging to me are the things that guys like Eric Kennedy are doing at the bottom of the lineup. He can bunt for a base hit. He got the double. Granted, the center fielder's positioning looked like me out there, but he's giving them production at the bottom of that lineup.
Now, a Jimmy Saxton State Farm Insurance Agency man cave story. Kendall, I know you have plenty of those, being around college baseball, traveling to all these wonderful college baseball venues. Maybe it comes from Omaha. Is there any specific man cave, maybe 1A, 1B you want to talk about that maybe it was a Kyle Peterson story?
You talking about just a general story?
Yeah, something that you love talking about that's maybe college baseball related.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was talking to somebody one time over in LSU, and we were talking, and this is a story related to a coach, but this still cracks me up to this day hearing the story. But Skip Bertman, the former legendary coach at LSU, LSU had lost the Super Regional. I want to say it was, what year was it? I want to say it was 99 or something like that. They lost in the Super Regional, and this is at the old box. If you ever been in the old box, like, you could literally just walk up and go into walk into the coach's offices. Like, when you walked out of the tunnel, to the left, the coach's office is right there. So the way the story was told to me was after they lost that Super Regional, an LSU fan walked in the coach's office like 4 hours after the game was over, and the only person there was Skip Bertman. So the guy walks in, and I guess my hunch here is a Skip is probably like, what the hell are you doing in here? And the guy apparently sat down in the chair the way the story was told to me. And like, coach, like, what happened? Like, we're LSU, we're the Tigers, we're supposed to be in Omaha. And I guess Skip Bertman literally looked at him and goes, hey, don't you tell anybody or you're dead. And he was like, I guess the guy was kind of like, oh, okay, I'm going to listen to this. Well, apparently Skip Bertman looked at him and said, hey, don't tell anybody. But the NCAA, everything's fixed. And I tell you what, this Super Regional's fixed. That's why we're not in it. But I'm going to promise you something. Next year, it's our turn. We're winning the College World Series. LSU won the College World Series the next year after telling that fan that it was all fixed.
It's fixed.
That's funny.
So that's a really good story.
Outstanding.
There's plenty of Omaha stories that are a little fuzzy for obvious reasons.
Yeah, Starskis.
yeah. Omaha can get a little fuzzy on you.
Speaking of Omaha, what percentage of a chance will the Kendall Rogers go all in on black at a casino in Council Bluffs, Iowa?
You're gonna not believe this, but I've literally been to the casino twice in 16 years in Omaha. And one of the times I saw Augie playing craps. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, he was like a mainstay at the casinos over there. Like, even after their games were over, he would like get in a car and go to the casinos.
Oh my God, that is awesome, Kendall. Well, I guess one last question before we let you pack up and go to Omaha is, I know this is tough, but Rosenblatt Stadium or TD Ameritrade?
Oh, not even. That's not tough. Rosenblatt by far. It's kind of funny. Like, I kind of look at historical stadiums and I look at old venues a little differently each place. Like, for instance, I went to school at A&M, and I know Mo will attest to this. And like, hey, you know what? Kyle Field or the old DKR was great, but tell you what, you go to like the new place at A&M and you're just like, oh my God, like this is insanity. But when you look at the College World Series, it's a different feel. Like TD Ameritrade, like it's really nice, but it's really corporate. Whereas I thought, like old Rosenblatt, there's like no feeling in the world as a baseball fan, a college baseball aficionado, like when you drive over, and you've been there, man, like when you drive over that hill and like that stadium's sitting there on the hill, you walk up to it and it just like smells and feels old. And in a way, it kind of reminded me, this is a bad comparison because it's the most historic place in the country, but Fenway Park, like when the first time I went to Fenway, it was like, oh my God, this place smells old. That's kind of the way Rosenblatt was. And so I was more of a fan of just totally redoing that place. But in a way, it is kind of neat that, you're in a spot now where like, hey, all the hotels are right there. All the restaurants are right there. And so there are pluses and minuses of both, but I preferred Rosenblatt.
Kendall, I promise we could all, between all five of us, we could talk college baseball, College World Series, Longhorns, and even Aggies baseball all day, my friend.
We need Coach Mo to give us some good Aggie football. I know he's got some good Aggie football stories in those late 90s.
Oh, absolutely.
I do.
They all include sheep. It's really weird.
Hey.
Oh man.
I love you, baby.
This is happening when you get surrounded by a bunch of Longhorns. They like to play like little dirty games all the time. So.
Some of my favorite A&M football stories were, I knew somebody that worked with a team like in the early 90s. And what was the guy's name? Who was the big linebacker back in the early 90s? There's like 100 of them.
Coriat.
That win. That was late 90s, early 2000s.
Who was the guy that broke the vending machine in the early 90s?
Oh, I didn't know about this one.
What was that guy's name?
That might have been I need to think about that one.
I remember somebody was telling me that like they would literally call RC like once a week and be like, dude, like, one of your defensive guys like broke a vending machine and stole everything out of it, or somebody busted a window in at a bar. They said it was just total pandemonium.
And then we have our Reggie McNeil stories while he was there.
Yeah, Reggie was.
Funny. Reggie, it was always funny. When I was in school, Reggie was there, and I saw Reggie driving around one time. I said, I know his parents. I'm not so sure he can afford that car he's driving.
Took a page out of SMU football history.
It was a loner. Man.
It was a loner, man.
And then Coach Fran came in and took those cars away.
Don't get me started.
The old Southwestern Conference days.
Well, Kendall, much love, my friend, and appreciate you spreading that wealth of knowledge on college baseball, man.
You got it, guys, man. It was awesome. Nice meeting you. Hey, Mike, let's talk sometime, man. Let's get some D1 baseball gear.
Absolutely.
I'll shoot you a DM and I'll send you some hats or something like that.
Sure, keep Vinny out of trouble over there. That's a full-time job.
You know my guy Vinny, huh? Vinny. Keeping Vinny out of trouble it's thing in itself.
That's an impossible job.
Yeah, he's crushing it. Awesome. Yeah, I'll hit you up.
All right, y'all be good, man.
Hey, Kendall, we appreciate you.
Later, Kendall.
Later, Kendall.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, my buddy.
See y'all soon.
Segment 2 is on the way, and we will continue to talk a little more Omaha and actually hear from the Longhorns. That's coming up on segment 2. One of the most loyal fans of Stories Inside the Man Cave podcast since day one has been Jimmy Saxton, the former Longhorn and former Westlake Chaparral, and the son of a Longhorn legend who was a Heisman finalist. He is also our primary sponsor for all of your insurance need. Log on to saxtoninsurance.com or give him a call at 512-441-1082. Again, that phone number, 512-441-1082. Jimmy Saxton, an Austin original, and has been insuring Austin for nearly 3 decades. Before his final deployment to Iraq, Travis Mannion left everyone with a simple but powerful ethos. If not me, then who? It describes a sense of duty felt by service members and their families. Today, it is a constant reminder for all of us to live with character and put the interests of others before our own. To learn more about this foundation and how to get involved, log on to travismannion, MANION.org.
It's a lot tougher to get to Omaha than people understand, and it's, you know, the word is thrown around, or the city is thrown around like it's just going to happen, and you see some great teams not make it this week. It's unfortunate when you put all the work in, but it's baseball. I mean, in baseball, you never know what's going to happen, and so our kids are young for the most part. They're not afraid of anything. They're not afraid of the work. And I've never had a team that works so hard for each other. It's incredible. So,
welcome back to Stories Inside the Man Cave, episode 77. We just heard from Kendall Rogers of D1Baseball.com. Big Mike, that was one of the guys, and I think you and I both called him basically the authority of college baseball as the Longhorns make their 37th trip to the College World Series. And speaking of, you made a special commemorative hat for that 37th trip. Am I right?
It's in the works, man. It's in the works. We've got, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, 37 trips to Omaha. You know, we came out with the 36 trips, and now that when you look back at it, I'm not quite sure 36 trips was the best route to go as we continue to get more trips. Now I have all these patches. So, yeah, man, David Kendall is, I don't know what's going on with my, there we go. Maybe it's on. Hey, guys.
I thought we were at a nightclub in 1988.
I don't know. Yeah, right? We're just banging in and out. I should have kept coming closer like the old cartoon. Yeah, man. So, the eyes closed. You get closer and closer. Yeah, dude. As far as Kendall, dude, impressed with D1 baseball and how he's grown that.
Very much.
From where it is to where it is now. It's pretty impressive. Now, I mean, he is an Aggie, and in all honesty, he does give a lot of hate to UT, but now I understand why. But he's also going to, let's do some hats, Kendall. Come on, baby, hats.
Come on, Kendall Rogers. Let's get a new hat contract or maybe a first hat contract.
A contract would be great. Let's lock you up long term, baby.
Get a 5-year deal with Last Stand hats. You know, one of the things that I love saying, and I know kind of stealing it from Coach Gus back in 89 or 93, where are the Razorbacks now? Number one pretty much all year and knocked out in the Super.
The Omahogs is what they have on the back of their stadium.
Yeah.
Haven't ever won a national championship, but they're the Omahogs who – bro, I got on Twitter after they lost. I was out in left field. Shout out to Mark Pignock by left field. You came out, Sean, hung out for a little bit. Were you there both days or just one day?
I could only make.
You were just there one day, right?
Yeah.
That was a party.
Yes, it was.
Man, it hasn't been like that. It's really cool to see that. It hasn't been like that in, for a year and a half. That reminded me of like some of the football tailgates, like LSU football tailgate, how packed it was. All in all, though, like great time out there. Texas baseball, being down, 2-0 in the first, coming back, winning 12-3, 12-4.
Yeah.
Honestly, think Texas can make a good run. It's going to come down to pitching. You get past Mississippi State, you get a win, and then you start catching a little bit of fire. They haven't lost a game in 2 weekends, so let's see what happens here, man.
Speaking of Occupy Left Field, that was a significant recruiting weekend on the 40 for all the major sports, baseball, football, basketball. Huge.
Sunday, Chris Beard was there firing the cannon. Ogden was there. All these basketball recruits ran into Sam Ellinger.
Did you really?
Into Coach Sark on Saturday. Yeah, I saw Sam Ellinger driving by. Gave Sam a couple hats. Gave Sark a new visor, the all gas, no brakes visor.
Beautiful.
All in all, man, just they're awesome people. So
speaking of
Sark, ran into Tim Crowder. I think you saw Tim, didn't you?
I did. What was it? Cole and blew it.
Timothy Cole. That's right.
That's right. But yeah,
my guy blew it. Yeah.
I blew it.
I saw Crowder out there too.
Did you really? That wasn't surprised. He was a great, highly regarded baseball player coming out of high school. He could have gone pro.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of
good. Oh no. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of, you mentioned it. Here's that moment Sark and his lovely wife fired the cannon on Saturday in Super Regional Game 1. See, that pretty much set the tone, exactly what you were talking about. And Big Mike, my Occupy Left Field history only dates back 4 years only. But for really going, that would be, what was it, the 18 season, really going to more than a few games. That was, and you alluded to it, in my opinion, helped spark that crowd and that atmosphere, which was full at the Dish 2 weekends in a row. But that Saturday game that night, that's the most people I've ever seen out there. Is that fair to say?
Loaded, man. It was packed. Longhorn Network, of course, a lot of us were out in a cutoff shirt and George walking up, talking to Sark's wife, talking about mutual friends. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, man, it was so packed out there. You had so many people. The cool thing too is like all the parents were there. All these people that, COVID really wasn't an issue, if you know what I'm saying, on Saturday or Sunday.
No.
Nobody, no masks, like nobody really cared. Like it was a good time, to say the least. So really excited. Thanks everybody for coming out. It's a blast, dude. Texas baseball. I'm really, we off the record talked to Pierce before the season started, and he told us, man, he's like, this team looks good. The team looks good, right? And so I think, he was right. And I questioned it. I said, you have to get to Omaha for him to stick around after the season.
Right.
I think, last year would have been another team that he probably would have been back-to-back to Omaha, to be completely honest. But as Kendall Rogers said, Tulo, at some point, they're going to have to make a decision, man. Does Tulo leave, or do they make room for him and bring him on staff, because he's that good? He brings that mentality, and I don't think you want to lose that.
You can't. He's a significant piece, but he's made everyone better, and everyone, coaching staff to players. Emotional weekend, and we all love the Zubius. I think all fans do, and and the left field family of friends over there that you guys have gotten to really become close to Zubius' mom and dad. Well, what did that win mean for them? Check out these emotions from the big guy.
This team has just been so great. They work their butts off, and to be able to put on this hat right here, it just gives you the appreciation of knowing that your work day in and day out is paying off. And I'm just overflowing with emotions right now, and just these guys deserve everything. I'm just so appreciative to be a part of this team, and it's just been nothing but great for me.
Amazing. Talk about a class
that
act.
kid, man. That kid's got a great head on his shoulders, and Mr. and Mrs. Zubia, especially Jeff, man. He is a good dude. I'd walk up to the game and Jeff be like, how's your son doing? You know what I mean? Like, they care. So great people. Couldn't ask for better people out in left field. Same with the Stevens, Patrick and Preston and everybody else. Jesse. Those good times, man. Good times.
Hey, man, tell me something good.
Yeah, you know how we do this Tell Me Something Good segment. It's usually how we end the show, sponsored by Cosmic Coffee and Beer Garden. Big Mike, you have something you want to pass along to the masses that may make people feel good, a little positivity?
Gonna be subbing in on the KLBJ again today or yesterday. Actually, the rest of the week, I think possibly. I know today for sure. Or yesterday is when we drop this. When are we dropping our podcast? Tomorrow, Friday?
Yeah. Oh, on Thursday.
On Thursday. So yeah, check out KLBJ yesterday. Sat in with them. That's good. Mike Hardy's got some stuff going on. All in all, man, baby boy is good. Business is booming. We're gonna have a watch party. For those who can't make it to Omaha, feel free to come out to Bolden Acres at 5:30 on Sunday night. I know that's Father's Day. We will be hosting an official Last Stand Hats watch party with Bolden Acres. So drawing away, giving some hats, come out for a good time. They got great food, great price drinks, air conditioned inside.
That's key.
It will be once it gets dark. I mean, it won't be as hot. Probably feel a lot better, but yeah, come on out. Also, thoughts and prayers to Mama C. Heard she's not doing very well. So from all of us here at Stories Inside the Man Cave, we're thinking of your mama.
Hey, buddy, I appreciate you, man. That means a lot. I think she'll pull through. It's just hard to watch your parents age and lose mobility.
Yeah.
But that means a lot to me. That really does. And to her, the family as well.
Yeah, throw some prayers out for my wife's mom. She last week came down with dual kidney failure. She got E. coli. So she's fighting through. We're seeing improvements, hopefully. But it's been a pretty rough week. So prayers for Sherry Steinbeck. If you're a prayer warrior out there, we greatly appreciate it. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely prayers for Big Mike's mother-in-law. We are thinking of you to get you through this health ordeal. It's never a good moment for that, but we are definitely pushing you through with strength and improved health as well. Tell me something good. I mean, I know we may be in the minority, but college baseball has gained a lot of interest in viewers as we enter Omaha and UT, University of Texas, their 37th trip to the College World Series. There's been a lot of interest, a lot of buzz on social media, more so than most, in my opinion. I'm not just being the eternal optimist, but I think it's true. And if you don't have never been, just watch the games on ESPN. Texas opens up the evening game on Sunday at 7 o'clock against Mississippi State. 6 o'clock Central. That's right. I had Eastern time zone. That's exactly. Thanks for correcting me.
6 o'clock Central. Party starts at 5:30 at Bolden Acres.
Hey, get on that. Go see Big Mike. Get a Last Stand hat.
Well, Sean, you're coming, aren't you? I mean, you're not going to Omaha, are you?
I'm not going till I may not go. Yeah, I haven't decided.
Well, come on out to Bolden Acres, Sean.
Bolden Acres on Sunday, baby.
Give the people what they want.
We all need to make that appearance, bro.
Well, I will be there as we're hosting it. So
that's right. No, you'll be there. We need to get Harge and Coach Mo to make get the entire crew out there. And
also, we've got. Let's see what else we got. We got women's national teams in town tonight facing Nigeria. Women's soccer. Opening home game will be there Saturday at the Austin FC's inaugural home game. That'll be fun. You got the U.S. Open this weekend. I mean, it's a big weekend, man.
It's a big weekend for sport.
Kawhi Leonard may have torn his ACL. I mean, who knows? Yikes. Paul George, big game Paul George. How are you going to respond, bro?
Playoff
Probably not very good.
You know, he self-proclaimed that when he went to Oklahoma City, we never saw playoff P.
Who? Who's Swaggy P? Is that
Swaggy P? God,
we saw Swaggy P. We didn't see it. I ain't never seen playoff P, man. Get out of here.
I hate when people give self-proclaimed names. It always backfires. It really does. Yeah. I hate it, bro.
Cool, man.
Hey.
As always, it's been great.
It has been great, bro. And so we had to Hardball Harge and Coach Mo had to bust out of here because they're busy. But, hey, we were all four together. And we got to give a big shout out to Kendall Rogers of D1Baseball.com. Follow them and subscribe. So for Hardball Harge, Coach Mo, and the Big Mike Murphy of Last Stand Hats, We out.
Holler to play when you see him in the street.
You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up.